I think it is incredibly important for people to find community, and people need to hear stories of others, especially hope. They need to hear hope.
Hi, my name is Latasha Cleaver.
My name is Lisa Lenro.
Hi, my name is Nick Andrus.
Hi, my name is Liz Pena.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sean Carey.
Hi, I'm Erica.
Hi, my name is Tammy Ofdahl. I just wasn't sure that this little voice from Wyoming really made a difference, but I learned quickly that it does. Every voice matters. I had the amazing opportunity through the National Brain Tumor Society to sit down and visit with Senator Barrasso on more than one occasion and tell him our story and talk to him about my husband. I know that it helped him decide to become one of the co-sponsors of the BRAIN Act, which is very important to our brain tumor community. When I walk out of one of those meeting rooms, I feel like I did something that truly mattered.
Because of this platform, my mom's story and her legacy can live on and create meaningful change for families like mine.
I lost my daughter to a rare ependymoma brain tumor at the tender age of 3 years old, and it really shook my family to the core. That was almost 23 years ago, and I really wanted to find a way to keep her memory alive. We've raised over $10,000 to fund research the last 3 years. During Brain Tumor Awareness Month, we celebrate many voices, one mission. To me, that means all of us coming together to share our stories and bring awareness to this terrible disease that plagues so many of our families.
Because of our Gray Nation Endurance athletes and our Fundraise Your Way organizers authentically sharing their stories in fundraising last year, they collectively raised over $3 million to advance groundbreaking research, advocacy efforts, and patient support for the brain tumor community.
It means a lot to me to know that my own story and experience as a former caregiver to my late husband is informing glioblastoma research for patients. Thanks to my NBTS training as a research advocate, I have been actively involved in developing a grant application on late treatment effects in long-term glioblastoma survivors, specifically designing the research protocol.
I realized that it was important to share my story about 3 years after the diagnosis. My wife and I were at a brewery and saw some other guests wearing NBTS Brain Tumor 5K t-shirts. Since then, I've gotten involved with the race and shared my story as a survivor speaker. I found that when I share my story, it can really help people who are going through a similar ordeal.
One of my favorite things to do is to share my story with the newly diagnosed, because I want to instill hope while also sharing some of the funny parts of my journey. By the end of the conversation, they realize maybe they can do this too.
I've had the pleasure of participating in all 3 of the National Brain Tumor Society support groups, and I have to say there's a common thread where sharing your story creates bonds with other people who've been through similar experiences. So whether sharing your story means a support group, whether it means advocating with members of Congress in Head to the Hill or Advocate from Your State, or it means creating a fundraising platform and sharing your story that way, there is a lot of value in your story and it can help others, but it may help you as well. You can show up and be yourself and share your story, and it can still have an impact. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to wait until things are polished.
I want patients and families to know how powerful their stories can be, because you do not know who may be impacted by your experience. By sharing your story, you are making a difference and encouraging other people to do the same. That is the true power of many voices coming together for one mission.